If you don't understand this lesson and take it seriously, nothing you do is going to work, no matter how much money or how much time or how much effort you put into it. I don't recommend spending a dime on any platform, Google, Facebook, Yelp, whatever, if you don't. As you guys can probably see right now on screen, I have spent over $110,000 running Google Ads specifically for home care agencies, generating over 1,100 conversions for those home care agencies. So I want to let you guys know of the lessons I've learned, the mistakes I've made, so that way if you want to run Google Ads for your own home care agency, you don't have to spend over $100,000 in order to find Google Ads to figure out and learn what I know now. That way, if you're interested in running Google Ads to get private pay home care clients, you're gonna have a massive head start compared to beforehand if you've never run Google Ads before, or maybe you have, but you didn't have much success in the past. So let's get right into it. So if you don't know me, my name is Aaron, your go-to home care marketer. I make videos on how to get private pay home care clients online and a little bit offline as well. So if you like that sort of stuff, be sure to hit a like on this video and subscribe. Every like and subscribe really helps. As you can see, I'm still a very small YouTuber. And also comment below, what are your goals for your home care agency in the next 3 months? And in the comments, I will respond and help you formulate a plan to help you get to your goal. So let's get straight into the video. So the lessons I've learned and the mistakes I've made while spending over $100,000 on Google Ads specifically to generate private pay home care clients. So the first mistake I see all the time, and it's not really about Google Ads, it's more about the perception of it, and that is to think that Google Ads is going to just instantaneously work as soon as you hit the enable button. So I'll be honest, after running Google Ads for 4+ years, almost 5 at this point, it can take some time for it to work, even if you already have an optimized campaign from the get-go. So if you think you're going to get the best results from Google Ads, making in all the calls in the first 1 or 2 months, then you are sadly mistaken. While that can happen, it usually does take a little bit of time for the algorithm to learn what works best in your specific area, to see what keywords work best, to optimize the landing page or the website that you're sending the traffic to. So overall, there's work that needs to be done that can't possibly be done or known about until after 1 or 2 months. If you jump off the ship, 1 or 2 months into the journey, then you're shooting yourself in the foot and pretty much confirming that you're going to lose money with Google Ads, because we don't know what's going to happen within the first couple months. But then after those couple months, you're going to get some data. That data can be used to make data-driven decisions. That's going to help you get more calls and more clients as well. And just remember, the average home care client, the average lifetime value is around $15,000. So you can imagine that even if you just get one client, even if it takes you 2 months to get that one client, it's going to make up for all your ad spend, all your costs, with of course profit as well. But of course you can expect more than one client when you are running Google Ads, especially if you have a good optimized campaign and you make data-driven decisions and you give it time. You want to try running ads for at least 3 months. That's the bare minimum before you call it quits. Ideally, you want to run it for 5 to 6 months. Because after 5 to 6 months, you've gone through some seasonality, you've gone through some months, and if you're still not getting the results that you want, then I would say yes, it's safe to cut it from there. But minimum, you want to give it 3 months. Because I've had campaigns that the first couple months started off shaky, started off rocky, and then the 3rd month, we blew it out of the water. So make sure you give whoever you hire or yourself, at least 3 months before you say, hey, this doesn't work for me, I'm going to call it quits from there. Way number 2 is a little bit more technical, but be sure that you're tracking conversions with your Google Ads. I have audited so many accounts, and I can say that 80% of the accounts that I've audited have no way of tracking conversions or tracking calls that you are getting to know which calls are good. That could be bad because we don't know what keywords are generating you calls of people who are looking for care. So you might be targeting the words, home care agency, be getting you a lot of clicks, but we don't know if the term home care agency is actually getting you the quality calls that you want. So it's important that either yourself or whoever you hire enables call tracking, or at the bare minimum lead form submission tracking, so that way they know what keywords get you what calls, and then you can optimize for those keywords, and you can stop the keywords that aren't generating you calls. A good tool I use that makes call tracking very easy and simple to implement is CallRail. I love that tool so much because it also can record the calls as well. You can get transcripts of the call. I have a link in the description for a free 2-week trial, and the best part is CallRail will automatically take the calls that you get and import them as conversions in Google Ads, so that way you don't have to think about it. You already know the keywords that are generating you the calls thanks to CallRail. The next thing that you should know about Google Ads, so this is way number 3, is that you want to make sure that your target area is big enough. So I've worked with some clients who wanted to target a very small specific area, and I thought, oh, okay, this is great, very small, very targeted. However, what ends up happening is that impressions go down. So the amount of times that people see your ad is going to go way down. And if you have a very low amount of impressions, you're not going to get many calls. You're not going to get many clicks in the time being. And the clicks that you do get are going to be really expensive. So let me explain how it kind of works. So from my experience, the more restrictive that you make the campaign, the higher cost per clicks you can kind of expect. And this, I believe, is due to a supply and demand type of thing. So let's say that you have a lot of competitors competing for a small supply. So each search is the supply, and then the demand is all the competitors that are bidding on the Google ads. So if there's, let's say, 10 people competing in an area that only has 10,000 people, you can bet those competitors are going to be willing to pay more for the clicks in that specific small area. Thus, you're going to be paying more per click, and then it's no guarantee that it's going to end up being a call or a conversion. So if you have a bigger area, so if you have multiple cities or multiple counties, it's going to expand your radius, so you're going to get more impressions, and then the clicks that you do get are going to be at a lower cost because there's going to be a higher demand due to the fact that you're targeting more places. Thus, if you're targeting more places, there's more people that are searching for home care in those places. If you do know of a lower income area that probably can't afford your services, it's best just to not target them in the first place. So lesson number 4 is, here are just some settings in Google Ads that I use that have never generated me a private pay call or a private pay client whenever I've used them. And when I've talked with other, home care marketers, they say the same thing. In terms of bidding strategy, so how you bid for the keywords when it comes to running Google Ads for home care, I've never had good success with maximized clicks. I don't think I've ever actually generated a call, and I've tested it many times. So when it comes to the best bidding strategy for home care, I would say either use enhanced cost per click or maximize conversions. Both have worked very well for me in the past, and I continue to use both. Also, search partners, I always have that off. That has never generated me a call. If I do have it on accident and it does generate a call, it's most likely a person that's looking for a job, they can't speak the language or anything like that. Lesson number 5 is your budget really determines the speed that you get results. If you have a very small budget, anything under $800 a month in Google Ads, you're gonna see results, but it's gonna be very slow, and also it's gonna be very inconsistent as well, and it's gonna take you a while to gather a good amount of data before you can make good changes that won't hurt your campaign in the long run. So when I work with clients that have budgets under $800, it's very hard to get them good results because the results can be inconsistent, especially if they're in a competitive area and other people are obviously willing to spend more. It's kind of hard to generate a good amount of traffic and a good amount of clicks, and thus a good amount of calls. So I tend not to work with clients that, want to spend anything under $800. So however, once you do pass the $800 mark up, so let's say you spend $1,000, then, you can start to see better, more consistent results, and also results faster. And what I find is that the faster you get results, the more you know that it's working for you. Thus, you don't get antsy, and then you don't make changes to the campaign that could end up being detrimental. And clients that are seeing the best results with Google Ads are spending $60 a day or $75 a day. So they're spending anywhere between $1,200 and $1,500 a month. They're getting a good amount of quality calls of people looking for home care, and they're getting them at a good enough rate so that that way they know that they're working. And better yet, they're getting a lot of data as well because their budget is healthy. And with that, we can make more data-driven decisions that's going to end up getting us calls for a lower cost per call than if we had a small budget. We had to wait a little bit longer. Google has to spend a little bit more before we can make that good data-driven decision. If you're not willing to spend at least $800 on Google Ads, and 800 is the bare minimum, even at 800 you're still going to see pretty slow results, then you kind of just don't want to run Google Ads. You want to save up a little bit of money. And if you're looking to hire somebody, you may not want to think about it unless you're willing to spend at least anywhere between $1,500 and $2,500 a month for the marketer and the ad spend as well. However, let's say you don't want to hire somebody, you have some money to spend, but you don't want to spend too much money on Google Ads, and you want to still get some results from Google Ads, but you don't want to hire somebody to create the campaign and to manage the campaign. So I actually have a program that is a done for you Google Ads campaign where you only pay me a one-time fee, a one-time cost. I create the Google Ads campaign for you. I do the research for the keywords. I do all the settings and all the things I know that have worked for my other clients across the US and Canada for the past 4+ years. And then I create that Google Ad campaign for you. I connect it to your website, and then I hand you the campaign. I show you what to do to manage the campaign, so that way you don't have to pay the management costs. And then managing the campaign, minimum, you can spend 1 to 2 hours a week managing the campaign. You can spend more time if you want. I show you how to manage the campaign, and you also get a course alongside with it that also shows you how to manage the campaign and how to handle the different aspects of Google Ads, so that way you feel comfortable and you know that what you're doing can help you generate good high-paying private pay clients. If that sounds good to you, click in the description below and to get more information on the Done For You Google Ads program. Clients who have done this program before have seen good results from it. You can see testimonials and different reviews and what you can expect. If you want more information, click on the link in the description below to learn more about that. So the next lesson I've learned is actually a lesson I learned from other home care agencies that I talked to. So how much they've been burnt by other ways they've tried to market, because they try to rely on the cheap overseas market to do their marketing for them. And it may be okay for something like creating just a very simple website, although it's not going to be very sophisticated and it's going to kind of make you blend in with every other home care agency. However, at the end of the day, they get nothing in return. So they may have hired the person for only, let's say, $600 or $700. However, they get zero in return. So in effect, they wasted that money. When if they probably spend $1,000, $1,500 or $2,000 on a marketer that really does know what they're doing, that has experience generating private pay clients, they would have made their money back plus some profit as well. You get what you pay for, and if you rely on cheap overseas people to do your marketing, not only are they not really experts in Google Ads, but they have no idea how to take their knowledge from Google Ads and make it into a campaign that generates home care clients specifically. You want to look for people who have experience working with home care agencies, because they know the keywords to target, the things to do to generate private pay home care clients. The next lesson I learned is that your keywords are massively important with Google Ads. I would say they're one of the most impactful features when it comes with Google Ads, because that is pretty much your targeting, and that's what makes Google Ads shine. You want to target more high intent keywords. So a lot of times I see people are bidding for words like home care or home care agency or home health, something like that. Those keywords are way too general and people could just be looking for information. You want to target keywords of people who are looking for services. So a good way to target that is by targeting keywords like home care services or home health care services. And another way to do that is by targeting location-based keywords. So if you use the word near me, so targeting words like home care near me is very good, but also using your town name. So if you're in Chicago, targeting words like home care in Chicago or home health care in Chicago. Those words have generated me a lot of private pay clients. So I would say definitely go out of your way to target those specific keywords, and don't be afraid to bid higher for those keywords as well. Lesson number 8 is your landing page is an important piece of the puzzle too. You want to make sure that it looks clean, it's simple, and it's not too complicated. However, I think the keywords still overtake the landing page. So you want to make sure that if you are having trouble generating leads with your Google ad campaign, take a look at your keywords first before you make any drastic changes to your landing page, because that's where it starts. You want to make sure that you're having the right keywords and the right traffic going to your page before we make all these changes to your campaign. However, if you look at your page and you think to yourself it's unprofessional or it looks kind of clumped or it's kind of confusing, or I wouldn't trust. And lesson number 9 I've learned is that you want to make only a couple small changes at a time. So back when I was younger, when I only had like 0 to a year in Google Ads, I would make so many changes. I would make a lot of changes to my campaign. And what ends up happening is that either the campaign would just completely stall and stop, and I would not know what to do there because I made so many changes. I don't know which knob. I did not know which knob to change back or which knob to revert in order to get the campaign performing again. Or the campaign would improve and I wouldn't know, okay, it improved, but why did it improve? Was it because of this knob? Was it because of that knob? Was it because of these two knobs together? And I wouldn't have a good systematized way to know, okay, if I do this, this happens, or if I do that, that happens. So if you are going to make changes to your Google Ad campaign, only make a couple small changes at a time. Wait at least 3 or 4 days. Once you make that change, see the results from it, and then you can document, okay, when I made this change, this happened. So that's why now, every change I make to the Google Ads campaign, I write it down somewhere. And when I do make that change, I also list the result that happens when I do make that change. So lesson number 10 is kind of related to, my geographical lesson and the last lesson I just talked about. And that's to try not to cut down your campaign too much. You want to let Google do its thing and find what works, and don't tell it what you think is going to work. Every time I've tried to cut down my campaign, for example, let's say I exclude desktop, a couple geographic areas, getting rid of every single keyword except for like a few, what's going to happen is that it led to increased costs, but not necessarily increased conversions as well. So I would pay these increased costs, but there's no real conversions or calls that are going to show for it. Only cut down things that are having like a very detrimental effect, like it spent $100 or $200 and it hasn't generated a single call. Then you could pause that keyword, but again, you want to do it slowly. And lastly, let Google do its thing. That's why it's important to give it enough time. So that's why doing it for only 1 or 2 months is shooting yourself in the foot, because you want to let Google do its thing. The Google algorithm is very smart. I know a lot of people want to say that it's not and they want to keep their control, but overall, the more control you give to Google, the better I've seen the campaign go. However, that does not mean just give every single thing to Google, and run broad match campaigns and bid however much high and all that kind of stuff, or follow their recommendations all the time. I would say, you want to control it still, but don't be too restrictive on the campaign. Lesson number 11 is that simpler landing pages work best. So page with a lot of animations, a lot of pop-ups, fades, and all that kind of stuff. So I paid a lot of money for a lot of bells and whistles. And what was funny is that when I ran the test and compared it to my old, simple, static, kind of boring landing page, it worked a lot worse. Did not work as well as my boring standalone landing page. And then when I stopped running ads to there, and then I put all the traffic to my old pages, it'll lead to more calls and more conversions. So what this made me realize is that you want a simple landing page. It doesn't have to have all these animations, all these fade in, all these beautiful icons, these beautiful pictures and all that. You just want a simple one that shows what you offer, shows how you can benefit the person and why they should choose you. Also, the less words you can have on the header, the better. So what I found was that having only a headline in the header and no subheadline actually increased conversions compared to having a subheadline under it. So what this tells me is that having simpler headlines and having simple messages that people can read and understand in 5 seconds or less can really help keep people on the page and boost your conversion rates. But again, make sure that your page doesn't look like it's from 2000, and you still want to make sure that it's nicely designed and it's a clean design as well, because you have to remember that your landing page is a representation of your business. How can people expect you to take care of their loved one who they've loved for 50 plus years? So if you don't know, when you run Google Ads, after a couple days or so, Google is going to have things under the recommendation tab, and it's going to say something like, hey, we recommend you do this, increase your budget, try broad match keywords, and all this kind of stuff. You want to take every recommendation with a grain of salt, because with Google's recommendation, they're recommending you ways that's going to increase your spend. And then whether you're getting more conversions or not, that's not really Google's number one concern. They want you to spend more money, and it's mainly by opening up your campaign And while yes, opening up your campaign can lead to more conversions, you could be paying more per conversion by opening up the campaign too much. And also, if you open the campaign by too much, you could be getting irrelevant clicks and everything like that you still have to pay for, but will never lead to a conversion. So always take Google's recommendations with a grain of salt. I'm not saying to never do them, but you want to look at them and say, is this worth doing? And then if they're asking you to do a budget recommendation, you want to increase the budget slowly. So let's say if you're spending $50 a day and Google recommends that you spend $200 a day, you don't want to just immediately jump to 200. You want to test 50, then you want to test 70, then 100, and then slowly work up from there. So the next lesson, I think this is lesson number 12 or 13, is to not solely rely on Google Ads. And that's kind of like putting all your eggs in one basket. And it's okay to start off like this, especially if you're just starting out and you have some funds and you want to focus on one platform for the time being. However, I would not say to stop your other marketing methods, such as doing your offline marketing or looking into other online platforms like Facebook, for example, because the more ways that you can have to get clients, obviously the more clients you can get. And if, let's say, during the 1 month the Google Ads is not doing well, the Facebook ads are picking up the slack and actually generating the private pay home care client. If you're doing only Google Ads, that's okay for now, but you want to look into other avenues of generating private pay clients, whether it be online or offline. So this last lesson, I think, is the most important lesson you can take from this video when it comes to not only running Google Ads, but any online media or any offline media. If you don't understand this lesson and take it seriously, nothing you do is going to work, no matter how much money or how much time or how much effort you put into it. That lesson is that your sales skills is what matters the most. I don't recommend spending a dime on any platform, Google, Facebook, Yelp, whatever, if you don't have good sales skills. So if you don't feel confident that you can take a stranger that needs home care services and convince them to go with you, you need help with your sales skills. So many times I have worked with clients that I did not realize that have never sold home care services before or have never gotten their own clients before. And then I would generate them plenty of calls of people who are looking for home care services, which is the most I can possibly do. I can't convince a person to work with you. That's your job. That's why you opened your home care agency. However, they had trouble growing their client base because even with all these calls, even with all these leads, they weren't handling it properly or in the best way possible. Thus, those other leads were going to other home care agencies, and that's because, unfortunately, they don't have the sales skills when it comes to getting clients. However, this is a learnable trait. You can learn what to do to get strangers who need home care to go with you compared to other competitors, even if those other competitors have more authority and have more reviews than you. The only thing Google Ads can do is generate you that interested lead. If you don't pick up the phone, if you don't have sales skills, if you treat customers rudely, then you could be spending thousands of dollars that could be actually generating you results, but you're not going to see an ROI. That's why I help my clients who work with me improve their sales skills, so that way they know that, hey, once I do get a call, I know confidently how to take that call and turn it into a client, like I talk about in this video here, where I go through one of my clients' calls through the scripts that I give out to all my clients who work with me, and I say what she does well, what she doesn't do well, and overall if she was able to get the assessment and overall get the client. I'll see you guys in that video. Take care.